Welcome back. Good evening to another edition of Hot Takes. We're going to be taking a look at some of the most interesting tweets or opinions that have been put out across social media in the last week or two. Remember, you need to be sending me these DMs if you see something which you find egregious or outrageous or whatever the case may be. You can tell by the title, there's some interesting tweets that we've found already. Make sure that like button has been smashed. Make sure you subscribe to the Football Terrace. Make sure you leave your comments below as well. Very important that you leave your comments below in relation to this. And where to start? Rashford, KDB, Paul Scholes, or Saka? I think I'm going to start with a little bit of Paul. I think we've got to start with a little bit of Paul Scholes tonight. So this is a real interesting one for me here. This is a real interesting one indeed for me. So I'm looking at this here, and someone says here, what's going on? This is a show called Hot Takes. This is looking at people's tweets and talking about them. So this says here, look how far football has changed. Players dropping off when Scholes was on the ball instead of pressing him down. Not sure he'll have had that much freedom and space to pick those passes a lot in today's game. This is one of the most outrageous takes I have ever seen in my life. Legit. Like, when I listen to it, like when I read it, this is what it sounds like to me.
Look how far football has changed. People dropping off of Paul Scholes instead of pressing him. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I can't believe it. He wouldn't have made it in today's game. He wouldn't have made it. No way, no way, no way, no way, no way, no way. There's
no way, none.
It's just mad. It's legitimately mad for people to have this kind of opinion. It's stupid. It is. It legitimately is. To think that pressing has only just started now. To think that pressing the ball is a newfangled thing. That only now players get pressed. That Paul Scholes was given the freedom of the park. Nobody put any pressure upon him at all in his 20-plus year career. And it's mad. It legitimately is mad. It drives me insane. And on top of that, one of the reasons why Paul Scholes wasn't pressed very regularly is because he was so press resistant. His ability on the half turn with his low center of gravity, he could beat a man and then he could drive into your space. He was not a bad ball carrier either. So people stayed off of him because he was even more dangerous with space to work into. And when you look at the footage, if you actually go find this tweet as well, what you will see is it's in the latter stages of Paul Scholes' career when he was playing a lot deeper on the field of play. Everybody forgets because no one remembers or they're too young that for large parts of his career, he plays as an attacking midfield player. That's when his goals and his assist ratios were much, much higher. And he dropped deeper as he became older. People look at what he did from that kind of quarterback role and say, no pressing, never under any pressure. It's like one of the maddest takes I've ever seen in my life. It just is. John here says Paul Scholes was world-class. Absolutely. He was world-class. There's no doubt about it. You know, absolutely. It's crazy. Address your ticking system, brother. I don't know what that means. I don't know. I don't know what that means, my friend. I don't know what that means. Okay, something's really weird thing going on here. Terry, Jorginho already surpasses Paul Scholes' legacy. Really? Jorginho already surpasses his legacy.
How? Please tell me how. How is that even plausible? Come on. We're live. And you're giving us these bad takes live on the air. Come on. Come on.
Just beyond me. Absolutely beyond me. Look. There's more. There's more. Legitimately more of it. There's more of it here.
J5 has already surpassed Paul Scholes. Really? Come on. Are you serious? Are you serious right now? Come on. J5 has already surpassed him.
Come on. You cannot be serious with this. You can't be. This is a madness to me. It's as I say, on a real take here when it comes to this, Paul Scholes was one of the very best football players to ever grace the Premier League. To suggest that he was only good because pressing didn't exist. People think pressing didn't exist in the 90s, in the noughties, in the early teenies. People think pressing has just come to fruition now. You do realize that the Gegenpress was invented in like the 80s or 90s. Either way, it was invented a long time before Liverpool were doing it. A long time ago. It wasn't invented 6 years ago. It's a madness to me. Absolutely mad. Absolutely crazy. Up next, we're talking KDB.
This is probably one of the worst ones I've ever seen in my life, and I have to really delve into this because this guy thinks Aaron Ramsey, that's, you heard me right,
Aaron Ramsey
is more clutch and therefore better than Kevin De Bruyne. Let me just we have to think about this. Aaron Ramsey better than Kevin De Bruyne. Can you imagine a world where this is true? I can't. Can you? I don't know. But this is somebody's real, true opinion.
just mad to me. Legitimately mad to me. How anybody could even put this opinion out there, whether it's as a joke, whether it's seriousness or not, I don't know. I can't fathom for the life of me why anybody would even put a tweet like this out and think it to be. This is what the guy says. I'm going to read through it word for word here. Legitimately, he says KDB obviously a shout of being a good player, but when KDB doesn't play for City, they don't miss him.
They don't miss him. They don't miss him.
They don't miss him.
They don't miss him. They don't miss him. They don't miss him. They don't miss him. They don't miss him. They don't miss him. They don't miss him. They don't miss him. They don't miss him.
Seriously, they don't miss him. This is just egregious again. When KDB doesn't arrive in big games or doesn't have good performances, City have famously failed. It's absolutely crazy to me. He says the same can't be said for Ramsey, a massive clutch player. As if KDB hasn't scored in big games, in big Premier League games, in big FA Cup games, in big Champions League games for Manchester City. Absolutely crazy. Legitimately crazy. I cannot lie to you. It's the maddest, one of the craziest takes I've ever seen in my life. And this guy's tag says head coach in it. Listen, on a real level, I can't believe it. Head coach. Says head coach. Got a super chat here that says, Did you saw the tweet where Ollie fans saying what expectations for Ralph are only top 4 and for Ollie it was a Premier League title? Kids these days where logic is rare. This is a great example. Let me just explain to the top Reds.
Let me just explain to you, big babies. The reason why Ralph's expectations are top 4 and not the Premier League title is because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has stopped Manchester United from being able to win the Premier League title. That's why. Just the last 6 months of the season, top 4 is what we expect now, because we're about 2,500 million points away from Chelsea because we barely won a game. We could barely kick a ball. We could barely create a chance. We couldn't keep a clean sheet. Come on, top Reds. You're not that stupid. You're not that stupid. Stop acting stupid. Please, because it's hurting my little brain.
Saka. Bukayo Saka. Now, this is an interesting one for me. Bukayo Saka, for me, is a real interesting take here. I think he's a talented player. I do think he's a talented player. I'm not going to get away from this. There's a comment here that says, and I'm going to read this word for word.
Saka's ceiling is as a left wing back or left back. It's way higher than his ceiling as an attacking player. Sometimes I don't know what to say. Sometimes I just don't know what's going on in people's minds when I read things like this. It's a madness to me. It's just crazy. Crazy.
Do any of you agree? Do any of you think Saka is a better fullback than he is attacker? Like, does anybody really and truthfully in their heart of hearts believe that? I don't know if they do. I don't know if it's true. Are people just saying these things for attention?
Oh, look at me, please give me attention. Please, I really want attention. I'm not even going to pretend that I'm being sarcastic. I'm just going to say I mean it. Please, look at me. My mum doesn't get me any attention. My dad doesn't like me. My brother thinks I stink. I can't get a girlfriend, and I haven't had sex, and I'm 27 years old. So let me just say some bullshit on Twitter.
That's how it sounds to me. That's just how it sounds all the time. The same thing over and over and over again. I can't believe that people legitimately think this. It's crazy. It is crazy to me when I see this sort of stuff going on all the time. Saka is a tremendous player. And, you know what, Lee Gunnar said it earlier on the show very well. Maybe, just maybe, he won't reach that superstar level that he wants to under Mikel Arteta. But there's certainly the opportunity to reach those kind of levels as a football player. We've seen it. The attacking system at Arsenal isn't conducive for him. And Arsenal is struggling as a collective. He isn't particularly the reason. He's also young. And he's gone through a lull in the last 6 months of football. It's 9 months in time, but 6 months in football because there's a period where you do not play. But you notice he was in a better system with a better manager for England and played very, very well. And that's what he needs. He needs more game time. He needs more game time. He needs a better manager, in my opinion. Arteta may become that, but at this moment in time, he is struggling because of that. But people have these weird takes because of it. It's a madness to me. It legitimately is a madness to me. Do me a favor, people, and smash that like and share button, please. I'm going to go to some of your comments here. This says here, guys, I don't think Saka was mid on the wings until Culture Cam said it. I don't know what you mean by that. When you say mid on the wings, I don't understand. I know what Culture Cam said around not having like an outstanding attribute. And I kind of disagreed to an extent. When I first heard what Culture Cam said, then I listened again and thought about it, and I understand it. He isn't seen as a prolific goal scorer. He hasn't got an amazing outputs when it comes to the assists, and I think that's primarily because he's been used in too many positions, and now he's been put into an attacking role, and he's playing for a pragmatist who isn't attacking in great numbers and not attacking with great vigor. He needs a better manager. So I do understand where people are coming from, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done there from him. And the manager is a big part of that problem. There's no doubt. Absolutely no doubt about it. Terry, what standout attributes does Saka have? His best attributes is his brain. He would be a world-class left wing back, but he won't be a world-class winger. Maybe that's the case, but I think, again, you've got to put him with a manager that is renowned for having good attacking football. I think that's something we sit here sometimes as football fans and we praise particular managers for how good their attacking system is, how good they are, etc. But then we kind of discount that from players that are struggling. We discount that from players that are struggling in teams that are more pragmatic, or the manager isn't as experienced or isn't as good. We've done it at Man United for a long time now. Legitimately done it at Man United, where we turn around and say we say things along the lines of, you know what? Martial's been ruined by Ollie, but Rashford's just stupid. Rashford just can't cut it. And that kind of brings me on. To one of the final pieces here. Man United fans suggesting we should sell Rashford, or at the very least, in the initial comment, they wouldn't be unhappy if Rashford was sold. Now, can you imagine Marcus Rashford being sold from Man United? I can't. I think he's a tremendous talent. This was a tweet from a brilliant channel, the Trafford Tunnel. Man like Tyrone's been on the terrace a number of times now. He had Hadj on the show. Hadj, we all know Hadj, big on TikTok, growing massively on Twitch. Really good guy, knows his football. I get that. So it's kind of, I'm picking someone here I know rather than just randoms. But he sort of said, I'm all for selling Rashford being sold by Man United. And I have to disagree with that take completely. Marcus Rashford is a tremendous talent who, in the same way as Pogba and in the same way as Anthony Martial, has not had a successful manager nurturing him. He had LVG for 6 months. 6 months. And then we had the Jose era and the Oli era. And what I find to be highly frustrating is the majority of people that were completely anti-Jose, completely anti-Oli, seem to also be completely anti Marcus Rashford. And for me, it's a case of that doesn't even make sense. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. It's like,
So, I don't like how Jose plays. I don't like how Oli plays. I think they're bad coaches. I think they're bad managers. I think they've got terrible or no systems. But at the same time, I'm going to hate on the players like Rashford because they're picked more than my favourite player, maybe. Is that what I'm thinking? Oh, I don't know. And then someone comes in with a question and says,
Yeah, but hang on. Martial's struggling. Pogba's been inconsistent. Why don't you have the same disrespect or challenges towards them as you do Rashford?
well, for me, I see a difference. I think that Martial and Pogba have been damaged by the system and the lack of training and the poor managers that none of us wanted. Marcus Rashford just lacks intelligence. It is all on him.
for me, when I look at this and I get the answer, for me, I just think Rashford is been one of the biggest. It's been hindered more than nearly any other player in the Man United team through not having a progressive, modern day, peak of his power coach behind him, showing him, teaching him, and nursing him. I think he makes bad decisions because he hasn't had the training and he hasn't had the nurturing required for a player of his talent. In the same way that Martial's gone backwards and Paul Pogba hasn't been consistent for Man United at times. In fact, if you look through the whole Man United team, forget Moyes and the early LVG era, everybody name me a player really and truly that has been consistent and that everybody's been happy with throughout the Jose and Oli era. There legitimately hasn't been one. There hasn't been one singular player that we look at as a collective and say, he has been brilliant and consistent. There isn't one. And if you guys can name me one in the comments, I would be legitimately surprised. Someone that universally, we all turn around and say 110%.
He was great.
No one will. There literally isn't a single person. So why is it we're so up for particular players being sold and moved on, but others we protect with our lives? And I get that we all have opinions. For me, I'm applying the same logic across all. I get a feeling that if Rashford wasn't one of the favourites under Oli, people would view him differently. I really do. And I feel like if Scott McTominay or Rashford had spent the majority of the time on the bench and not playing, but we were still losing these games, they would be the ones that, we'd have just played him more, we'd win. I remember in the
Jose Mourinho era, people said, play Andreas Pereira. Play Andreas Pereira, just ball out. He's a baller, he's a player. Jose don't know ball. Jose don't know ball. Pereira, he'll save us, he'll fix us.
We've kind of done it with so many players that have been in and around the fringes when we've been struggling in the Moyes, Jose, LVG, and Oli era. We've elevated the fringe players or the players not in the first team, and we've berated what we've considered to be the favourites, the people that have played more than we felt they should. I just think Man United fans need to draw a line underneath it and look beyond the end of their nose and go, let's just give every single player now an even kill. And even kill and say, okay, let's see what this new manager thinks. Everybody's backing Ralf Rangnick. Everybody that I watch on socials especially, they're all saying how good a coach, manager, and organizer of a club he is. If he's picking Rashford regularly, back it. If he's picking Martial regularly, back it. If he drops Pogba, back it. If he does play Donny, back it. If he doesn't play Donny, back it. Because maybe then, that's why I'm so intrigued about this new era, to see how it changes people's mindsets. And as I say, everyone's got hot takes. I've not said any of these takes are bad takes. I've said they are hot takes. Let's be very, very clear in it. Having a little bit of fun with it. Would you like to see Marcus Rashford sold? Do you think he's of that standard to stay at Man United or not? I want your views and I want your opinions. Please make sure that like button is being smashed this evening as well. Let's have a little look here. Rashford improves year upon year. So young, but he's been a first-team player for years now. Not many like him at a young age. Went through various managers, not his fault. One of the best in his position. Statistically, definitely. If you look at it statistically, he is been one of the best left inside forwards for the past 2.5 years. This is a statistical fact. The subjectivity of whether you like what he does or not is a madness to me. I don't care. that side of people's opinions, I like people to be unequivocal. What do you want to see people do or not do? If it's an eye test thing that you don't like seeing, then cool. But then let's look at other players to whether a lot of people say he makes the wrong decisions. I'm still yet to have people show me a body of work that says he makes more of the wrong passes or more runs than a lot of his contemporaries. I need to see the facts behind it and not just you say, well, it's what I saw. Then if you're seeing it and it's real, there'll be an abundance more. He'll run into dead alleys 7 times a game, but his contemporaries are doing it 2 or 3 times. Show me this, that there'll be a way of building those statistics, and I can't see any around that yet. I think he's a tremendous talent. I think Man United would be idiotic to sell him. I think the world and his dog would be queuing up to buy him. And if Rashford was to leave Man United, my honest opinion, we'd be sitting here, honestly, in like 3 or 4 years' time, and it'd be like,
Why is he sold? Why? Who wanted him so? Why'd we... Ralph, what? That's exactly what will happen.
we just would. That's exactly how these things would go, without a shadow of a doubt. I just know it in my heart of hearts. It'd be one of them. Why did we sell him? Why did we let him go? Rashford is a better looking version of Werner. He scored over 20 goals 2 seasons running in a non-system system. I think he'll kill it under Ralph. I think Rashford will go to another level, especially from an outputs point of view, which as an attacker is one of the most important things you can do. And I actually think Ralph will help improve, not his intelligence, but the training and the man management will help improve his decision-making. That can be helped. You can be trained and taught in every aspect of life to be a better decision maker, how to remain a little calmer on the football pitch. I don't think it's his intelligence. It's the head down approach, a little bit of like hot potato. That can be coached into you. Calmness can be coached into you, especially if the system is more balanced, especially if there's more progressive sort of positional attacks being made. If there is more confidence in your team to move the ball forward and more balance, more play on the right-hand side, freeing up additional space on the left-hand side for the switchovers. But listen, that has been Hot Takes. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. A little bit of a different kind of show for us, having a little bit of fun. And look, I'm intrigued to see what happens in the next couple of days. The football's going to be amazing. You know where the football terrace is going to be. If you see any mad takes, tweets or videos or Insta posts that people put out, please screenshot them or copy the link, send them through to me in the DMs. We're going to try and get one of these shows out a week for you guys to all have a look at.
Terry, Hazard is clear of Ronaldo. Don't get me wrong, Ronaldo is definitely had a better legacy, but I think Zard is clear. Wow.
Wow. Just.
I can't believe it. I legitimately can't believe someone's just said that. Legit. It's one of the craziest things. I know you're trying to troll there. Terry, Man United should be playing Anthony Elanga, Mason Greenwood ahead of Marcus Rashford. That is what Sam Ingram believes. Interesting take. You think that? Listen, I think Greenwood again excites me in his development and what that's going to like in the coming weeks and months. It's going to be intriguing to see, no doubt. But listen, everybody that has tuned in, a massive thank you to each and every single one of you. Jonathan Prince, you have nothing good to say about any of the shows that we do, so I appreciate your feedback, but it's all a bit of a laugh and a joke. Until next time, people, take care of yourselves. Goodbye. God bless, and we'll see you all again.